Erik Spoelstra is just one of the most fabulous head coaches the NBA has ever seen. He's done it again, man. He has turned in a Miami Heat roster that's a little iffy and doesn't have one of their best players in Tyler Hero and hasn't had him all year, and turned this team into a really, really good basketball team that is playing way different on offense than any other team in the league, but having success, and then has that same old Heat identity. New pieces, but similar identity on the defensive end of the court. I have been very impressed so far this season with the Miami Heat, and I think they are worth a video. So let's do it. Tonight they played without Tyler Hero, obviously have played without him all year. No Bam Adebayo as well in tonight's game. And Andrew Wiggins, 23 points, game-winning alley-oop catch. It was a kind of an insane game. They did a really good job against Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Both of those guys were definitely minimized in tonight's game. Khalil Ware with a 20-rebound, really good game. I mean, Evan Mobley played well, but so did Khalil Ware. I thought he held up really well in that matchup against one of the more talented bigs in the East. I mean, I think he's been really solid so far this year. Norm Powell with a typical 33-point solidly efficient performance. He's playing really good basketball, just getting different contributions from different guys every single night. Jaime Jaquez with 22 and 13, 7 assists. He's a guy who was drafted pretty early, you know what I mean? And he was drafted out of UCLA with being a pretty developed product, and so as a rookie, it was like, oh, this dude's awesome. And then he's kind of reached his peak relatively early in a lot of ways, or it seems as though he has. And I think people forget about how useful he really is as a player. He becomes a little underappreciated. It goes from, wow, this guy's really good as a rookie, to, oh, he's an older rookie. He doesn't develop that much more. It becomes almost disappointing because it's not the trajectory people expect from a great rookie. It's just that he's a developed, really good basketball player, and he's still a developed, really good basketball player. I don't think he's a superstar, although tonight, 22, 13, and 7 is really good stuff. But I just love the ability to get all these different contributions from different guys. I like Simone Fontecchio. I think he's a legit NBA guy. Consistent shooter, solid defender, like not a bad player. Nikola Jovic with a really good pass towards the end of that game had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 8 points, played pretty well tonight as well. Even Drew Smith, I mean, their backup point guard, I don't absolutely love it. Once you get Tyler Hero back, that will probably solve some of that and obviously add a little more to this team. Bam Adebayo as well. They're like healthy 10 deep or so, though, if you trust Jovic, Pele, Larson, guys like that, which I kind of am starting to a bit. And they just play like the Miami Heat, man. Andrew Wiggins, something about contract year Wiggins is just different. And he is playing really inspired, quality basketball so far this year. And it's been really impressive. But the thing that's most fascinating, honestly, about the Heat is the way that they play. Because they run like no pick and roll at all. I think they run the least pick and roll in the league by a dramatic amount. As of right now, pick and roll ball handlers, it's 5.7% of the time they are running pick and roll. I mean, I'm not 100% sure that stat is exactly accurate, but compared to the rest of the league, it is literally half as few as the rest of the league at any team. I mean, they're running no pick and rolls at all. It's not just the lowest in the league, but the lowest in the league by a dramatic margin. And it's this drive and kick, overload offense, a lot of spacing, a lot of movement, a lot of ISO ball, drive and kick, move and cut, it's different. It's not what you're used to in today's NBA. And I think it kind of works to the strengths of guys like Andrew Wiggins and Norman Powell to try to maximize those guys, create these athletic mismatches, use your athletic big man in Khalil Ware. Jaime Jaquez is a pretty solid physical player in his own right who can kind of play to this style. I think Davion Mitchell, at times, as of right now, is being asked to do too much offensively, but that's what happens when you don't have a 25-point-per-game scorer in Tyler Hero. That will change. You know what I'm saying? So I almost think this team has some real positive potential growth coming as well. If they can get Tyler Hero back and continue this offensive resurgence, that would be really nice. Defensively, they're going to be decent. I don't know if they're going to be amazing. If you're starting Tyler Hero and Norman Powell together, at times that defensive backcourt might be a little questionable, but Davion Mitchell's one of the best guard defenders in basketball. Andrew Wiggins has been great this year. Khalil Ware is super solid. Obviously, Bam Adebayo and Jaime Jaquez are really good defensive players, especially Bam when he's healthy, one of the more impactful defensive players in basketball. As of right now, they have the 11th best offensive rating in the league. Not insane, but very solid. And defensive rating, they have the, let's see, what is their defensive rating? 7th best defensive rating in basketball, which puts them as the 7th best net rating in basketball. Small sample size, but I think a lot of us can all agree we didn't really think the Miami Heat were going to be a playoff team this year. At least I didn't. I don't know. You may not agree with me, but I kind of looked at the East and went, the East has passed the Heat by. I'm not 100% convinced that Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, and Norman Powell is a real playoff core. And if it is, it's an 8 seed. Well, you know what? It might be more than an 8 seed. This could be a pretty good team. I'm not convinced that a team with Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Andrew Wiggins, and Norman Powell as your 4 main guys is a contender. You know what I mean? But at the same time, they are very, very Miami Heat. And that's what the Heat do. They find a way. They're a competitive, feisty, consistent team that's going to bring it on both ends of the court. And I really think they're in a very, very decent spot. I mean, obviously they're spending a lot of money, but they're not in a horrible spot cap space wise either. So they're in a decent spot. I should have looked at the multi-year salary table. Let me find this real quick, because obviously I think this is a little more useful to look at these numbers and see where they are cap situation wise. $19 million for second apron isn't terrible, to be totally honest. They have a little bit of flexibility money wise as well. I don't know if you could potentially add to this again at the trade deadline. They're always a team that sometimes looks to be active at the deadline. Obviously they were very active at the deadline last year, trading Jimmy Butler, which I think, again, I mean, that's a very fair reason to not trust this team this year. I think that's been part of my thought process going into the year, was like, they lost their best player. There's a lot of turnover. I'm not going to trust. I'm not sure these parts are going to add up to a good offense, but this is very much a sum is greater than its parts individually. And I think that's been an Erik Spoelstra specialty for the last basically decade since LeBron left, honestly. So very, very impressive stuff again by Coach Spo, proving why he is one of the greatest coaches in the history of the NBA. It's the reason he's the Team USA head coach. Like, the guy's one of the better coaches in NBA history. And do I think this team can win a title? I would be surprised, but the Heat have surprised me before, to be totally fair. So I'm not going to say the answer is no. I'm certainly not going to say the answer is yes either, but they beat this Cavs team tonight in pretty impressive fashion. That's a good Cavs team. They're number 3 in the East, 7-4. And again, the East isn't exactly a bunch of juggernauts. Every team in the East has questions. Pistons, Knicks, Cavs, Bucks, Bulls, Sixers. Go down the list. Magic have struggled. Hawks are injured and struggling, kind of. Look, it's all up in the air. If you're ever going to take advantage and be a little bit of an upstart, weird team that's not really expected to compete but really makes a good run at it, this would be the year to do that. And that's what makes this Eastern Conference so fascinating this year, which is why I love talking about all these different teams. Talking about the Pistons yesterday, talking about the Heat today, I've talked about the Bucks already this year and the Sixers. Like, there's a lot of different teams that kind of have a chance, even the Raptors. Like, I am interested to see what happens in the East with pretty much most of these top 10 to 11 teams this year. It's going to be a fascinating year in the East, and really any of them can kind of emerge, which is part of the beauty of the way that it is right now with it seems like parity in the Eastern Conference. And once Tyler Hero comes back, man, I think the sky is definitely the limit for this Miami Heat team. I'm excited to see what happens. If they can continue to be at least, if they're a top 10 offense, top 10 defense, that's a recipe for a deep run in the playoffs. That's just how that works. So is it sustainable? They're shooting the 3 ball really well. Are they going to keep shooting 38%? I'm not convinced. But I am hopeful that there could be some positive growth for this team as the year progresses in certain ways, and they can continue to sustain some of this stuff and reincorporate Tyler Hero well, and they could be a really good basketball team. This is going to be a fun year, I think, for the Heat, and I think they are a lot better than what was expected. So if you're a Heat fan, considering what the expectations going into the year probably were, I'd be feeling pretty good right now, honestly. So hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.